It's Friday afternoon in Sydney, Australia, and that means...
Actually, it's Thursday.
Right. It's Thursday afternoon in Sydney, Australia, and that means it's time for Thursday. Why are we doing Thursday beers with Marc and Stuart? It's because it's Good Friday tomorrow. So the only people who work on Good Friday are rabbits, rabbis, and priests.
Exactly.
Anyway, yeah. So as you know, we're the leading provider of issuer-sponsored equity research in Australia at Pitt Street Research, specialising in small and mid-cap companies publicly traded on the Australian Securities Exchange. Okay, that's out of the way. Marc, what have you got me for Easter? Well, no, first of all, let's tell us about your early Easter present.
Exactly. So on Wednesday morning, 5 a.m., really early.
Right.
My team, Ajax Amsterdam, beat Juventus, one of the biggest teams in... thank you.
Well done.
One of the biggest teams in Europe in football. Not soccer, but football. That's the proper name. Into the semi-finals of the Champions League. So probably the best result in the last 22 years for Ajax. So they won the Champions League in the mid-90s for the last time. So yeah, pretty exciting about that.
Okay.
And speaking of gifts, I got you a little present here.
Oh, you're very kind. Happy Easter to you.
And there's a little
Easter... I get to open it now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There's a little Easter egg hidden in there.
All right. Let's open that up.
Maybe knock it against your head or something.
Okay.
There we go.
Aha, right. What have we got here? It's our Domicom report out yesterday. Now, investors are going to really have a feast on this one if they look at it.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what we're saying in our Domicom report.
So, in a nutshell, Domicom provides a fractional property investing platform and an equity release product for retirees that are thank you, that are asset rich but sort of cash strapped. So it's a really exciting platform. The last hurdle basically in the product offering was to get a debt component in place. So in order to be able to leverage your investment. So that's all done now. Have a look at the report. It's live on our website for everyone to download.
Right. Now, the big news of the week was Dulux. A bid from Nippon. Talk to us about what that means for the market.
Well, it's essentially a strategic buyer buying Dulux. Cheers. At a valuation 16 times EV/EBITDA. So I wouldn't say it's excessive. It's a premium versus the last closing price of the stock, but it's not excessive. I think it's very reasonable actually.
Right.
So. But it sort of fits into the theme we had a little while ago. Barbarians at the gate.
Right.
So back then, we had named a few companies: Bellamy's, Bega, Macmillan Shakespeare, Bingo, and O-Media as potential targets for either barbarians, your private equity, or strategic. So I think with this acquisition, if it goes ahead, it's clear that there's a good market for this in Australia for that sort of strategy when you're investing. I think.
Well, and particularly the power of the brands. I mean, if you grow up here, everyone knows the name Cabot's, Dulux, Selly's, British Paints, etc. The most recognisable brand name on that list from a consumer point of view is Bega.
Right.
So one's got to wonder if the Barbarians are circling that one at some stage.
Yeah. So who knows? But I think we mentioned Dulux a little while ago. It's a company with, I think it was an Irish founder, wasn't it?
Yes.
So
Irish CEO.
CEO.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the luck of the Irish has definitely been with that company.
Excellent.
Now, the other interesting news of the week was Blackmores. Blackmores traditionally has always reported quarterly. I understand they're changing that now. But
from the next financial year. Yeah.
Recent quarter saw the NPAT 43% down.
Right.
So as usual, the market assumed it was the end of the world for Blackmores.
Yeah, we'll put up the chart here. You can have a look at it and see how it's fared over the last 12 months.
Right. I always tell people when a company is as old and as venerable as Blackmores, look at the long run growth trend rather than just what happened in the most previous quarter. Now, I went back in time. Blackmores 1998 financial year revenue 69 million. FY18, 20 years on, they'd grown it to 601 million. And that's just about all organic growth, occasional acquisition. But by and large, this was just leveraging off the growth of the fact that 1/3 of us regularly use some kind of complementary medicine. I've got my, this is not Blackmores, but increasing number of us, for instance, take fish oil every day, or vitamins, or glucosamine, or any of the other stuff that we ordinarily. 1/3 of us use that. In America, the complementary medicine market's a $30 billion market, and growing increasingly. in an environment where it's expensive to go to the doctor, and there's more health consciousness around, people are looking for alternatives, and Blackmore's got the leading brand.
I saw one of the criticisms is, one of the reasons that share price has gone down is is sort of slow sales.
Right.
And the reason for that was apparently lack of innovation, new products. What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard not to be innovative if you're Blackmores. Like, they're always spending money funding other people's research assignments at various universities around the country. Right. Some big money went into a complementary medicine institute, for example, Western Sydney University. So at least I'm pretty sure it was Western Sydney University. The drive is basically get new products through the chain all the time. And obviously that involves some clinical work. So sometimes there's a lag.
So what's a good candidate for you?
Well, for me, I'm urging the Blackmores team to think about horny goatweed. Horny goatweed. Various herbs of the family Epimedium. Right. Well known in traditional Chinese medicine as an aphrodisiac and erectile dysfunction drug.
Horny goatweed.
I've seen the published papers, and it works.
Does it have anything to do with goats? And horny goats?
Like all these things, it was generally observed at first in goats. The reason we know that coffee keeps you awake is because a goat herder noticed that people were eating coffee beans, for example, and staying awake. So goats were the great phase 1 guinea pigs of the ancient world, and obviously
phase 1. Yeah, that's a good one. All right.
So take a look at Blackmores. I think this could be one for the contrarians.
Yeah, I had a look at the valuation. So it's trading at 2.2 times revenues, 14 times EV/EBITDA. Nearly 23 times PE, and then looking at EBITDA growth next financial year and the year after of around 13%. I'd say that it's not expensive at this stage, so it's very reasonable. If you sort of look at EV/EBITDA versus EBITDA growth, it's it's almost sort of the ratio of 1, which I think signals a company that's still very interesting, especially after the downturn we've seen in the share
You'll
price.
see the critics will complain that the magic carpet ride they've had in China is over. So obviously a big slab of the company's sales go up into Asia, and in particular China. Now that's no surprise. China spends half the percentage of GDP that they should on healthcare. If you've been to China, you know the air quality is terrible. People smoke like chimneys. So the health of the Chinese population is not as good as it could be. The way they tend to make up for that is to be heavy consumers of all sorts of complementary medicine products, including, dare I say it, a fair bit of horny goatweed as well. Obviously that's been a big market for them. They've just got to figure out a different way to sell into there.
Well, let's keep a close eye on it.
Right.
So just looking at this beer here, Hopsmith, and of course we've got this bunny here.
Yeah, so
is there anything to do with the bunny hop?
Sticking with the hop theme, I thought we'd have as in bunny hop, we'd have a beer named Hops. In this case, Hopsmith IPA. So from a little known Sydney brewer called Akasha, in the inner western suburb of Five Dock.
So anything Japanese about it?
It's actually a Sanskrit word. It means blue sky, open environment.
Right.
So it's I think the vibe of the thing is the sky's the limit. Now, the sky's certainly the limit on the alcohol here. That's a 7.2% alcohol by volume beer that you're drinking. As with a lot of the IPAs that we've been drinking, most of the hops come from the West Coast. This one's got Amarillo and Simcoe, so that you've got the range of woody and citrus and other aromas coming through the whole thing.
Right. There you go again.
Woody, yeah.
No, not just woody, but all sorts of Amarillo in beer. I never sort of associated that, but that's all right.
As I say, you need to upgrade your taste to the new hemisphere that you've moved to, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. The IBU 60, not as strong as the one we were drinking last week. But again, it's a contender for greatness in the independent beer range. And this is one I think I could come back to again.
Absolutely. Yeah. It tastes good.
Yeah.
Goes well with chocolate as well, by the way.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, that's all we've got time for. So happy Easter to everyone who's observing over the long weekend. And have a great weekend.
Cheers.